Hi, and welcome to this MYP Mathematics Category 2 workshop. My name is Martin, and I'm going to be your facilitator for this online workshop. So, for the next 4 weeks, we are going to go through 4 modules, 1 module per week, each week starting on a Wednesday and ending on a Tuesday, the next Tuesday. We are going to follow the pace, so that means that during the first week, you are expected to do all of the learning engagement activities of Module 1, and then on the second week, we are going to go through Module 2, and so on until the end. So when you log into the Moodle platform, perhaps to look around, here on the top left corner, there's the hamburger menu, which can hide or show these links, which are quick access links to every module, so that helps. There are also links here, tabs, that we can use, and also some links on top. But when you are within an activity, let's say I go to Module 2, Learning Engagement 1, then these tabs disappear, so you still have the links, or you have the links here on the hamburger menu, so your choice. But you'll see that sometimes it goes pretty much everywhere, so I like to use like these tabs on the left, but that's your choice. Here, on the home page here that I clicked, it doesn't show, there is a few links which might be interesting here. Of course, the latest announcement, but here, which are also here, but here in the coffee corner, I am expecting you to introduce yourself. So you can, I have done it as well. So just try to get to know each other. You'll see that over 4 weeks, we are going to really, without like being together, we're still going to get familiar with each other by all of the posts and the virtual meetings that I will offer as well if you come. So in introducing yourself, this is my introduction, and you'll see that to reply, normally like the way I use the display in the nested form, but here, when you want to reply, I use only, if I go back, I always do an initial post. If you add a new topic, it would like give many posts, and then we might have some difficulty like to see what we read. So normally to get everything together, it's much easier for me to copy paste like the introduction in each activity. So I always do an initial post. You click on my post, and then what you see is that we'll have the possibility of replying to my post. If you want to reply to someone else, then you reply to that person, and then all of the replies for that post are going to be together. But every time that you post like your answer to the activity, you just click on reply. When you click on reply, it opens up a text box, but it's only like text, so it might not be really interesting. If you want to be some editing tools, you click on the advanced button. What it is going to give you is a few editing tools here. If you want to put a link, for instance, then I suggest to open in a new window. It's easier like to stay on that page than to go back with the arrows. And there are also some editing tools here by clicking on the down arrow as inserting an image. So these are the options that you might really want to use. And there is also at the bottom, when you click on the advanced menu in the reply, you can also add a file by clicking either here or drag and dropping the file here. And then you say post to forum. Normally you have 15 minutes to modify your answer if there's something that you just noticed that isn't right. After that, you can send me an email if you want me to do it for you. If there's something that you say, well, it's a mistake. So this is for the introduction. I'm going to read from you soon. So then I'm going back to the homepage actually, and then you'll see that there are the announcements. So every time I send you an email, you receive an email, it's going to show here, and also you can track these emails down here in the announcement. In the resource library, what you are going to have is all of the updated guides. What I can tell you is that when you need something, I always put it as an attachment in the activity. So perhaps just focus on noticing that here the mathematics guide have been updated in February. There is also an update in December, and if I opened it up, the last update in February, actually, if you see here in the rubrics, sometimes let's say in D4, which is like justifying the degree of accuracy of the solution, when we were like at level 1, 2 and level 3, 4, it wasn't used. So let's say here, for the, aside from the 4, there was that sentence, and then like D4 was like 2 different things, and same thing here. So it was pretty much confusing. Same thing with C. Sometimes there are things that were not assessed. So here you see the strand 3 was not used for criterion C. So instead of like having like different numbers for the same idea, they just wrote not demonstrated at this level. So that might help. So I like that little update. The only thing is that the D2 here should have been D3. So I don't know why they've done that like that. It's perhaps a little mistake. The other thing that has been done this year, if I want just to give a really fast update, is that in December, the update was about the framework. So in the framework, they just clarified like the skills, the topics that have been to see, and they aligned it. So let's say the exponents go with the law of exponents, then it's all like lined up. Just a quick reminder that these are suggestions. The distinction between standard and extended mathematics are really used when you do the IB online exam. So you'll have to see all of the topics of MYP 1.3 and 4.5 standard if you're doing the IB standard exam, mathematics exam, and MYP 1.3 and 4.5 if you want to go. But well, you add here, like if you want to have the extended exam. In the enrichment, all these things which might be interesting that we often do are not part of the online IB exam. That's all that it says. And then the other thing that we might point out is if you are not doing the online IB exam, you are not required to teach every topic and skill in the framework. However, of course, if I'm giving to my students the standard mathematics exam, then all the topics and skill associated with that exam should have been seen. The other thing here that it says that you are not expected to address all of the branches every year. So we have to do like teach all of these branches throughout the MYP, but we might have one of the branch which is not seen on a specific year. So this was a little overview of things about the mathematics guide, the updates. If I go back to the homepage, I don't really use the other links actually. If I go to the, you can use it. It's an option, it exists. Roadmap, if I go to the roadmap, this is an overview of the workshop of the 4 weeks. So if you click on it, I have I unhid it in order for you to have an overview of what's coming up. Then here there is a survey that if you click on it, you can answer a few questions. But if you have given me like your answers basically within your introduction, I don't need it twice. Okay, trying to know where you're coming from and what you expect. You see that sometimes you have expectations that are not met with the 4 modules. So then what I would strongly suggest is that you come to the online meeting that I will offer. So I will offer a few meetings throughout the workshop. So if you ask me questions there, I could answer anything else. I'm, of course, working a lot for the IB, but I also am a mathematics teacher, and also I'm the MYP coordinator at my school. So you can ask me any questions, and sometimes like there are participants that say, well, I would have liked to know something, but they never showed up in the meeting. So it's important to show up if you want to have any other clarifications about things that are not in like already planned in the modules. So when you go to module 1, you see that there are module notes. If I have not told you before, it opens up a pop-up window. So of course you will have to allow pop-ups from the online PD site. in order to access it, and then you can go from one activity to the other. You see that often, of course, here it's just summarized. When I get to the activities, the documents, I already also give these documents within the activities, and then the clarification of what is expected in each learning engagement activities will be, I clarify all of these. So follow what I wrote within my posts, which is basically the same thing, but sometimes I just try to clarify. With time, I've learned that sometimes some participants had difficulty to know exactly what to do, so I just try to keep the focus. The webinar abstracts here are really interesting, so this is really valuable within the module notes. These information that you have. And then here there's a little activity and a few videos. So there's not much in that first module of new information and of information, but still it's useful. Like when you look at webinars or the little videos, it takes a few minutes, but it's still interesting to see. So then you go through the learning engagement activities. So we have 1 week to complete all of these 4. And my expectations are going to be there. So when you click on the learning engagement 1, you see that I want to focus really that in your post you share your definition and you say how you apply international mindedness in your class actually. So that is interesting. It leads to interesting discussions and sharing from every participant. And then you read what the others have done and you reply to them. So when you want to reply to someone, you take their post and you click on reply. Else you click on my post, and then on my post you click on reply. You see here I attached the document that you needed. So this is for the first one. For the second one, we will talk about the IB education. You'll see that it's not it has the same values, but it's not directly linked to international mindedness. But the most important thing here is that to go back to what is the philosophy behind the IB program. So these values, which are actually stated in a document which isn't there. So I have attached it to my post, which is what in IB education. So I suggest that you go read that. It's a short reading that summarizes the idea. So you have one page on international mindedness. You go through from the IB mission statement, and then you go up to the learner profile, and then it clarifies what is important in teaching. And one of the things which is really valuable is here. It's also in the standards and practices you see, but it's here. It's easy to read and just reminds us that within the IB educational system, we should use these approaches to teaching along the way. So I am going to focus a lot on that. Of course, we are going to teach strategies also for the approaches to learning skills that the students will develop. So short reading gives you the overview, and you can do that activity, the idea being to reflect upon these things and to share information all again, because I'm going to read everything you post, of course. In the learning engagement 3, there is the standards and practices. I'll click on my, well, actually, I will not click on my post. This, if you click on it, you will be able to download it. Oops, actually, if you click on it and it does that, is because you have to go first in the My IB. When you click on My IB, log in, and then you click on the post, you are going to be able to access it. And then you could, of course, log in if you are not familiar with My IB. The first page, the home page changed. You go to the Program Resource Center. This is in French, but it's actually the same. And then when you get there, you will have access to all of the documents. So when there are links here, sometimes just because it leads to these documents, but you have to log into MyIB first in order for that to work. So this is one way to have the document. Also, for each of the standards, I would like you to say one thing that your school does well and one question that you have, and you try to answer your colleagues' answers. So if I go to, let's say, approaches to assessment, what you are going to see is that I also attach the program standards and practices here. So it is expected from you to do like one post in each of my posts.